So now it looks like the UK is another country that's proposing a 16 and under ban on social media.
The government will ban access to social media for all children under the age of 16.
I see so many different opinions online, people talking about for it and against it. The government is being too intrusive in this sense, and it should be left ultimately up to the parent to decide ways to safely allow their kids to maneuver on social media. While that all sounds fine and good, studies are continuously showing us that things are not getting better for children and teenagers when it comes to social media. They're dealing with cyberbullying, scams, predators. Personally, as a parent, I think this is the next logical step to guarantee the safety of our children when dealing with social media. The X's, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, they all claim to have these parental safety measures to help children navigate safely through their platforms. But the history has shown us otherwise, that kids couldn't be any more vulnerable. I think America being the next country to adopt something like this would be a real game changer in a positive way. Something like this would help children go back to the fundamentals of what it is to be a child. Playing outside more, meeting up with your friends and playing with toys more often, gaming in the presence of your friend. The 5-year-olds today are not the 5-year-olds I knew growing up. Today, 5-year-olds are more concerned about the TikTok and making videos and doing all kind of things that somebody 16-year-old would do, or the things that kids on social media worry about are things that adults would, keeping up with Stanley mugs and new trends and things like that. And when your sole purpose is just to be a kid, all that distraction could really harm the whole process. At this point, from the way I see it as a parent of young children, social media has given diminishing returns. There's nothing wrong with opening up a book for them to find out information. Back to how we did. Life existed before social media. All the many tools and pluses of social media, we're way past all of that. If you ask me, the last known positive of social media for children was the idea that it bridged people together for families who live far away, maybe in 2 different countries. I remember growing up and children, we would pick up habits locally, maybe from the schoolyard, kids around our way, maybe our family, things like that. But now you're dealing with international trends and things like that for when it comes to children. Like, the World Wide Web is too vast for those young developing minds to have unlimited resources to navigate how they want in this online ecosystem. Adults, you're grown, you can do whatever you choose. Even though social media can be just as equally problematic for us as much as it is for younger children, in many ways we can navigate it in a better way to use it to our advantage for specific tasks. We just know how to navigate it better, having developed brains, whatever you want to call it. I don't know the science on all of it, but we're just grown, and in many ways some can handle it responsibly. But children, I think we just need to go back to how it was before. Children don't need phones in school for social media, none of that. Kids been going to school for centuries. You ain't never need to have a phone to contact your parent. You go to the office and contact your parent, or they need to set up something where now children are permitted to only bring some kind of Nokia or flip phone or something like that. Something without internet and all of that happening, because it's a distraction and it's not helping the children, man. Like, what other signs do we need to see that it's just causing our children? I mean, look at they said that the kids' reading proficiency is at a historic low. Like, what other evidence do we need to understand that this is not working for us?
A wake-up call to parents. If you have kids in school, the nation's report card that just came out is troubling, and the grades are not good for a lot of students.
There was a girl who...
Reading proficiency is at a historic low today. Nobody's trying to completely outright ban it so that nobody can use it. We're not saying this is China or something like that. We're just saying that we got to reel it in when it comes to the children with all of this stuff, because it ain't helping them. They can't focus. All of them got anxiety,
erratic behavior, paranoia, diarrhea.
I don't think he has diarrhea.
But how do we know, Marge? How do we know?
They worried about what other ones are saying online. They worried about what's going on when they don't have their phone. They worried that Susan might be running them through the mud, dragging them in through the mud on Facebook or saying some whatever platform they on. It's an unnecessary burden that they need to worry about. The scores are all down. That right there is enough. So whatever's going to make that number go up, I'm for doing whatever we got to do when it pertains to the children. Because ultimately, it ain't that big of a deal for them to not have the right to go on. Now, us as Americans, and having our rights and freedoms, nobody's trying to take that away from us as a parent. Like, we can still go online, but platforms banning, like how you can't have children in bars. There are valid safety measures in place throughout this society to protect our children. And the internet, social media, that needs to be the next one, because we can't leave it up to the Zuckerbergs and Musks and all the rest of them. Their bottom line is making sure that we stay locked in, our children stay locked in, and they are the children are cattle. We all cattle, for the most part, but the children are just, you dangle something in their face on social media and they hooked. Again, this all pertains to the adults again too, because the problem is just as bad for the adults. But we can't let these guys have what they want, and they want to data farm our children, and it's hurting them.
Google uses all different types of cookies. Some of these are deemed functionality cookies, and these are things that just make websites or apps work. And then there's advertising cookies, which are the ones you really need to be concerned about. These can be used to track the performance of ads, but they're also used to track a bunch of information about what you do online, what your preferences are, what you look at on certain web pages, and where you go all across the internet.
They don't care about our children. Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and all these rich billionaires, they don't even let their kids on social media and all that stuff. Like, let's be real. Like, it's time for us to stop being the suckers in all this and do what works for our kids. You can feel differently from me about this whole thing, but I'm curious to see why you would be opposed to something like this happening in America. Strictly just this. I don't want nobody going down no rabbit hole talking about, oh, well, if we do this and that means they going to take away our right to this and that and then they're taking our guns. I'm not talking about all that.
If I didn't have this gun, the King of England could just walk in here anytime he wants and start shoving you around. You want that? Huh? Do you?
No.
I'm saying specifically just on this issue as far as reeling it in with social media so that children are not allowed on there unless they're 17 or older. That's a fair deal to me. I think there's nothing wrong with that. We've been there before. This isn't something where we don't know how this is going. We've been there before. We've had society without social media. All the countless kids that are dying from committing suicide from some mess they see online or being social bullied, and this stuff is getting out of hand. This stuff is goofball stuff. Like, what we doing right now? It means something personally to me, again, because I got kids that are growing up and this thing is just not getting better. It drives me crazy that they be on the phone all the time. And if you're a parent who feel otherwise about this, you need to be worried about that reading proficiency score. And I'm talking about as a society. Now, maybe your kids is maybe where they need to be reading wise, but just looking at it as a big picture thing, the numbers are down. No parent can make sense of the fact that they kids know how to do every challenge and trend on TikTok and all these other platforms, and the kids can't even read right. That right there is enough to say, shut it all down. It's time to black out. That's what we do here. We black out.
Yeah, I just watched it. I watched it good. What are you doing?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What are you doing? Stop! I told you!
It's time for blackout, meaning we turning it all off.
He's right,
About the aunt?
About everything, damn it.
The stuff is like a drug. Like, us as adults know the full effects of all this stuff. You think that kids can handle this? Adults alone have a hard time. You think kids should be involved in all of this stuff? And I know parents is out there doing the best they can. Like, I know the ones is out there really trying to get a hold on it. I know, but it's like trying to monitor screen time for a lot of children is like trying to monitor addiction. If you know somebody who got an issue smoking crack, they don't say, I'm going to do a little less crack today, and then maybe I'll just wean myself off or just keep it in perspective. I do a little crack a day. A little crack a day will help keep it under wraps. And that's just not the case. The evidence don't show that. If you're addicted to crack and you're using it, you're going to want more crack. That's what it is. That's what the social media is. The social media is crack for a lot of children. Some are the exception. A lot of kids don't battle with that. But if you know children that are battling with this, then it's time to cut the crack.
Do you have any money? Please? I just need a little bit of money. Wait, Charlie.
Overall, this ain't a bad step for the UK. I'm happy to hear it. Feels good to know that some countries are trying to go in the right steps to help resolve this social media issue in relation to children. Because over here, people have went to Congress, talking to these CEOs of these tech companies, social media companies, confronting them, calling them out on the parental controls not being enough. Children who have died committing suicide, been bullied, all kind of things, and nothing has changed.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
Senator, this is why we're building all.
Who did you fire?
Tools. Senator, I don't think that's.
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
Because you didn't fire anybody, right? You didn't take any significant action.
It's appropriate to talk about
it's not appropriate.
HR decisions.
Do you know who's sitting behind you? You've got families from across the nation whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took? The fact that you didn't fire a single person? Let me ask you this. Have you compensated any of the victims?
Sorry?
Have you compensated any of the victims? These girls, have you compensated them?
I don't believe so.
Why not? Don't you think they deserve some compensation for what your platform has done? Help
Senator,
with counseling services, help with dealing with the issues that your services caused?
Our job is to make sure that we build tools to help keep people safe.
Are you going to compensate them?
Senator, our job and what we take seriously is making sure that we build industry-leading tools to find harmful content,
make money.
take it off the services,
to make money,
and to build tools that empower parents.
So you didn't take any action. You didn't take any action. You didn't fire anybody. You haven't compensated a single victim. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well,
they're here.
So we can't leave it in their hands. They can't be trusted with the safety of our children on their platforms because they don't care about them. They don't give a freak about your child. They don't care. You are on your own. They don't care about them. You need to make sure the government is your advocate in this situation to make sure that's the way a proper government should work. It should act as your advocate in situations like this to protect your children, put laws into place to protect their interests, protect your interests, not the billionaires. And that's what's happening right now. Maybe America need to think about that. And if you feel otherwise, just leave it in the comments because I'm really curious to hear.